All right, everyone. Welcome back to the afternoon session of today's live stream. For everyone who was in the morning session, thanks for coming back and joining me this afternoon. And for those who are just joining for the first time today, welcome back to the channel. It's good to have you back. We'll give everyone just a few minutes and then we'll get rolling. The morning session wasn't too fruitful for me. There were some other subscribers who did pretty well this morning, but it wasn't as straightforward as I needed it to be or I wanted it to be. And so I stayed out of the market, but hopefully this afternoon I can find something better, something that fits my risk profile. All right, Fauci, welcome. I just refamiliarizing myself with the market after being gone for an hour. Just want to see where everything is now. All right. HDS, thank you very much. Glad to have you in the room. Thank you for being first. All right, I think we have enough in the room now. We can go ahead and get started this morning. This afternoon. So we'll just review the news that was announced this morning at 8:30. We had unemployment claims as well as the building permits. Both of them were better than expectation, which benefits the dollar. We had the Philly Fed manufacturing index actually came in below expectation. So we have contradiction here: above expectation on unemployment and new buildings, and below expectation on manufacturing from the Philadelphia sector. Day after 8-day win streak. And revenge trading. Yeah, revenge trading, D. Anderson, is it's something that we all need to learn to get a handle over or take control over, because it's natural that whenever something unfavorable happens, that you immediately want to change that outcome. And you immediately look for the next setup, and anything close is good enough. But what you want to do is you want to take a step back, and you want to make sure your next setup is actually the A+ setup. It's the best setup that you've seen all day, because you are trying to make up for a loss earlier, but you don't want to compound that with the second loss. So so I would say it's probably better to take a step back as opposed to re-entering. I usually like to re-enter in another session unless I'm going for the same setup and I was just slightly early. Otherwise, I like to wait for another session before I look in. All right, Brad, thinking about dropping down to 965. So basically this new day opening gap. So this lime green area where price originated from, he's saying drop there and then make a run back up to 17,100, which are these equal highs. Okay. That could happen, Brad. It could be. If you want that to occur, what I would say is I would drop down to the lower time frame. In fact, let me just go ahead and mark up this macro period since that's where we are. It's getting ready to expire, but that's where we are now. Making new lows. See, you would like to see a high swept sometime in this time frame. So in the next couple minutes, you would want to see it run at least above 996. And then from there, you want to see a continuation of price and see if it continues and attacks these equal highs here before you get to the level above that and you keep building your position. But we have reached that level that you mentioned. So let's see if in the next couple minutes, if we do get a energetic reaction in the opposite direction. Just exited the short. Oh, sweet, Vivian. Nice. 1150 candle. Holy crap. Okay, so William, you've been in up here. Nice. Around 81. Holy cow. Okay, so you grabbed 100 points on the way down. Okay, DB. Yeah, I was looking for you at the end of the session. I was looking to see if I could help you out, but I noticed that you were either busy doing something or you had already logged out. So I moved on. But it's good that you have found what you needed, and so awesome. You're in now. Crypto Queen, another lunchtime entry. Yep, Lewis, you're right. It's sitting right in the center of all of that right now. I mean, it's not dead in the center, but you're right. It's trading between those two price points. The highs and the low was broken yesterday, and you mentioned the high broken today. So you're right about that. We did have 4 or 5 days of really consolidated daily entries where it would trade down, then it would trade up, and then it would close right in the center. We did that for 3 days in a row. Yesterday closed a bit bearish, but again, we had that big wick downwards, and as you mentioned, we swept lows. And then today it looks like the opposite. So we'll end up sweeping highs. And just so everyone has a flavor of what Lewis is talking about, let me pull up the daily chart. Okay. So this is the range we had for like 3 days. Price would do whatever it did during the day. And by the end of the day, it was right back to where it started. We did that last Thursday, Friday, and then we did that Monday. Or I'm sorry, Tuesday. We were closed Monday. And then yesterday, what we had is that we thought it was going to be something similar. Price had built all the way back up. There wasn't a wick above, but price had built all the way back up. And then towards the end of the day, it did come down and crash and land right here. And so far today, what we see, it looks like the opposite. There's very little wick below. All the trading was above. And now we're trading back down into the zone. So, yep. So what he was saying, what Lewis was saying was that potentially tomorrow, now that these lows are taken, these highs have been swept. So this high from last Thursday, Friday, all of those highs were swept. That tomorrow could be a big day, a big run up. So we will keep that in mind, and we'll see if we get that kind of price action. And so therefore, if we're in a good position, maybe we would want to hold a little longer. And let's come back down. All right, we are now in discount from this entire price leg from the last pretty much consolidation area overnight. And then we saw just before midnight, we saw price actually start to move bullish. And so now just measuring that retracement, we are between 50 and 62% right at the new week opening gap. We bounced off of it. Was that Brad? Yeah, that was Brad who said it. He thought we would bounce from here. We'd run back up to these highs and then go from there. Mm-hmm. Okay. So in the 15-minute, what do we have? Crypto Queen is calling out. We have a breaker here. If we can get this candle that we're currently in to close below, that breaker then gets confirmed, and then a return into the area for a short is likely. All right, some pretty good observations by some of the subscribers in the room. So thank you for that. It's actually really good. Good that we can revisit that, and I can point that out to everyone else, and they can decide what type of trader they're going to be and whether they like some of the setups you're looking for. Yep, for CFDs. Okay, so I see that William's not using the adjust for the contract changes. And I'm not sure how CFDs work when it regards to quarterly contracts. Mm. Okay, Vivian. Awesome. So, like I said, price action wasn't the greatest early on today, but it looks like some of the members still found ways to get into the market, and not only get into the market, but carve out a little piece of it for themselves. Let's get back down to the lower session. No, we did not have a market structure shift during the macro period. Because of that, I'm not overly zealous to jump into the market at this moment, but we'll see. All right, 13 more seconds, and then the 15-minute candle will close. Is it? Oh, okay. All right. So it is. I was wondering. I was like, why is it not attaching? Okay, there we go. All right. We did get that closure. Mm-hmm. 920, another area of consolidation. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Yeah, you're right, Brad. It was an idea. So then it's just one of the things you want to just watch price action afterwards and see if you do get that energetic move up towards the upside. So then you'll get an entry for that. But until then, yeah, it's an idea, and you just continue to watch this area because it could consolidate for 10, 15 minutes and then still give you the same move. So yeah, you're right. It's an idea, but just look for your entry clues, and then it goes from an idea to an entry model. Yeah, let me just go to the hourly. Let's see where things could potentially end up. Yeah, I think we're well within range of where, if we're looking for bullish prices to see things turn around, it should do so anywhere from where it is now to potentially down to 930. Um, but again, we'll wait and see. We'll let price dictate that. It'll let us know. It'll give us clues as to when it's turning around. But for now, the we have the dollar is buying, and the three indices are all selling to some capacity. With it looks like Nasdaq leading the way, S&P not far behind, but the Dow is, being the Dow. It's selling, but not very much. It's more or less consolidating more than anything else. Um, so that being said, we're just going to continue monitoring price. Anyone in a short, you obviously are on sides for now. Um, okay, so the new day opening gap has been lost now, or actually, that might be the new week opening gap. Yep, it's a new week opening gap. So our Tuesday opening price. Right, DB. Looks like you have a nice system going there with how you approach your trades. No, I'm not exactly waiting for the 71% retracement. I'm waiting for more than that. I'm waiting for something. Like right now, I see price retracing. I'm waiting for a link up between the indices. Um, and yeah, I'm waiting for something more than that. It's not just the level I'm waiting for. I need to see some more confirmations from price action and from the other indices. But that level, if something does happen at that level, I will feel confident about it because of that retracement level. Yep, right on, Crypto Queen. You're right. So it's liquidity or to balance price. Those are the two objectives. But I'm watching the dollar. I'm waiting for the dollar to make a move. Just show everybody quickly what I'm looking at and what has me struggling. If we sit here if we look at the left chart, the dollar on the 1 hour, you can see ever since 9 o'clock this morning, so just before the opening bell, price really hasn't moved out of this area right here. So this is what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the dollar to make a move. Sorry, I can move this. But yeah, without it making a move and deciding which direction it's going to flow, price, as we can see on the indices, are pretty much at a stalemate and holding where they are. Any type of progress is retraced back on. We even saw that this morning where um, any extension retraced back like 80% or so. And um, so yeah, I'm not super excited about trading until we get out of this. But we may just be getting there because it looks like the range is starting to close in, and so there'll be a breakout at some point. Okay. Hey TJ, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Atlanta, it's not so much that I'm looking for one or the other. I'm looking for a decision to be made on dollar, and from there, I'll make a decision on the other indice because it really can go either way. Um, and if I'm looking at it, it does look like we're bullish for Nasdaq, um, and at a higher time frame, especially when you get above 15 minutes. We're definitely still looking bullish there. S&P is looking bullish as well, but the Dow looks like it can go either direction. Not 100% crypto queen. When you say intraday profiles, give me a little more detail. Okay, it looks like we may have found some level of support at the 50% of the new week opening gap. Oh, thank you, Crypto Queen. Yes, if you're enjoying the content, please like the stream. That allows YouTube to promote us to other traders, confidently knowing that the people in the room are enjoying the content. Just swept below weekly open, but failed to sweep the previous H4. So could be an interesting pivot point. Yep. And it's also just before 130, which is also a common pivot point. London swing to New York, open, close, reversal. Then I have classic buy day, sell day. Okay. Yep, I'm familiar with the classic buy day, sell day, as well as seek and destroy. Um, I don't think the London swing to New York close is I'm that familiar with, but some of the others I am. Yep. Hey, let's drop down and see if we can't see a bit more of price action, so we can see if there is actually reversal going on here. We do get good momentum up. Let's see if this turns into a breaker for us. higher time frame fair value gaps. Yep. Yeah, you're right. It's like once you learn something that speaks to you, it's funny how that's all you see. All right. So I put those session highs and lows just so we can see where price has moved today, where we saw price sweep the New York high, trade higher, and then during lunch, we saw it sweep below that, back down to the New York low. Mm-hmm. Okay, I didn't realize there was a volume imbalance there on the 1 hour. 42. Alrighty. Let's see where we are with the others. All right. Let's see if we can't get a entry here. Right, Vivian? Caveman, no, Silver Bullet is at 2 o'clock. It's right now 1:37. Okay. All right, Brad. I think now is the time to ensure we don't lose this trade. Uh, okay, Bob, I'll check that. I know it should be about 15 to 20-second delay, and that's a delay set by YouTube. But if it's more than that, yeah, I'll check and see if there's something going on with the data. Yep, we'll see if this can reach its full potential. So far, it's done pretty good, but there's a retracement coming now. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to cancel one. Jesus. Oh well. All right. it. That was my mistake. I wanted to take one off. It was already at like 900 and something. So I was going to get 450 for that contract, and I was going to let the other one run so I could still get 1,000 for both instead of holding for like a $1,300, $1,400 trade for both. Darn it. All right. Just missed out on anywhere from $300 to $500 on that mistake. Yeah, you're right. Profit is profit. But here's the 1 to 2. Just delivered once again to the tick. Oh, actually, it's 1 tick short. So not quite. 1 tick short. Yeah, who's that who asked me to close one? Because when I read that, I was like, yeah, that's actually probably not a bad idea. Okay, that was Fauci who mentioned that. I was like, yeah, that's actually a good idea. Let me go ahead and close one. Not knowing that this right here quantity was set on 2. All right, let's see if this candle is the one that pushes through and delivers that 1 to 2. And it did. There it is. 1 to 2 for anyone who took that trade with me. And here's that 15-minute bearish breaker that's just been traded through with a wick. We'll see where this candle closes. Actually, this is a 15-minute candle closure at the end of this 1 minute. So let me move over to the 15-minute chart. All right, we see a trade up to the 8:30 open. And let's see if that's where the rejection comes from. 5 more seconds. Okay, traded back into the breaker. Yeah, I still ended up with right at $1,000 for the trade, but I was hoping to just take 500 with that one contract and then watch the other get the 700. So yeah, I missed out on about $200 by closing, or if I just left it alone completely, I missed out on $400. Oh, it didn't catch your order. I moved it at the last second. Sorry, Elena. Okay, let me go back and just talk everyone through this. So before the trade actually happened, I drew up this little blue box here, which was these 3 candles. So those who are not familiar with breaker blocks, that's what I was doing. I was highlighting these 3 as an up move that potentially could become a breaker. The breaker would be, so a breaker is categorized as a low, then a high, then a lower low, which is normally what you would expect for a downward trend. However, following that is not another lower low, it's a higher high. So it broke this high. So first you break this low. And then after you sweep that liquidity, then you come and you break a high. Whenever you get a breaker with a fair value gap inside, that is what we consider a unicorn setup, where you can expect for the fair value gap, at least the lower half to remain open. And you can expect for price to run to a pool of liquidity. And so in that case, what I was doing was I was taking an entry off of, there were 2 fair value gaps at the time. There was this one that you see, and then there was this one here, which was invalidated by this white candle here. So I took an entry off of this top one, knowing that originally I put my my entry here. So originally I had the long tool set up like this. And then when I saw price up here, Then I was thinking that maybe it'll trade back down and maybe just barely touch the edge of the breaker block and then continue on. And so I wanted to make sure I got into the trade. So that meant I needed this fair value gap. But I put my stop loss below, like I took this entry, right? My stop would have been right here under this candle. And even though I took the entry from up here, my stop was still down here. And that's why I still wanted the 1 to 2 trade to be set up that way. Or did I change it? Maybe I changed it. Okay, maybe I did change it and I took my stop from here, or at least originally maybe my stop was here, but after I was into the trade, then I remeasured and said, okay, a 1 to 2 trade left from this fair value gap, not from this one. So let me take it from there. So yeah, maybe I did do, I moved this from, it was originally here and then I moved it up and it was too quick for some of you to catch. So my apologies. But you'll get used to the way these formations happen, and you'll start to notice these breaker blocks on your own, so you can take those trades, or you'll see me setting it up, and you know exactly what I'm doing. So, for instance, when you saw me draw this box, I drew this box when price was still down here. It hadn't even traded up yet, but I was anticipating that trade, and so I just had the box sitting there, and I was waiting. And on top of that, as it was coming up, I was waiting for the fair value gap to present itself, and when I saw it, then all I needed was it to trade out, and then I was good to go. I even considered taking a trade on this candle before it broke to create the breaker, anticipating it breaking and being able to get an entry here. But that will go against my rules. I like to have confirmation, so I want it confirmed first. I wanted to trade back to the fair value gap, but since it created another one up top, I didn't have confidence that it would come back down, and so I took the entry from the upper one. Relaxation. Good job. Ooh, on micros. Okay. You know what? Oh, wow. I took this on the continuous contract. That's weird. I guess I never switched back to the quarterly one. So let me draw this on the quarterly one just to make sure that nothing changed. Because I never trade out of the continuous. I always take the quarterly. Okay, yeah, so the quarterly was exactly the same. We got the, this was the one that I used. All right, so now let's go and let's pull up the micros then. Futures, micro, here we go. All right, so on the micro, it was here. All right, here's the breaker. And then here is the fair value gap. So yeah, it looks to be about the same. I'm not sure why on your chart it didn't show up this way. Hopefully that's not a common occurrence. Yep. Mm. Crypto Queen, are you using the same chart I'm using? Your micro should look like this on the 1 minute. All right, looks like price is still moving. We have equal highs now. Oh, okay. All right, no worries. No worries. Yeah, we'll keep getting it. And I think well, let me go back to these. And these are exactly like what I was talking about earlier. And I forget the person who asked and said they continue to get in early. This was always me. I was always getting in at the breaker, but at the fair value got created by the breaker. So when price broke down, it would always crash below and take me out. And then I wouldn't know what was happening. And then it'd take off without me. So this is just another example of why if price is moving in the opposite direction that you want it to go and you're waiting for the reversal, look for the breaker first. Let the breaker confirm the reversal. $113. Oh, okay. And in that case, you're right. It didn't return. You're right. It did not return. So I don't know how to select which one of these is the actual breaker. I selected this one because this was the last price leg. So we're moving down. This is your swing low. Then it moved back up. This became your swing high. And then it came down. And until it broke this one, I wouldn't consider any candle in there for anything. When it broke this low and we crashed down and we finally made our next swing low here, that then confirmed this as the most recent price leg, all of this combined. So essentially the price went like this, right? So everything that happened in the middle, I'm not really considering that. So what I'm saying is I didn't see it like this, then to 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 this. All the stuff in the middle was swept out of the way, and all I saw was a low point, high point, and another low point. And that's how I selected this as my breaker. Highest uphill candle before the leg down. Yep. Yeah, you're right. So what some people do is, so I took all three of these, and this is a very conservative approach to breakers, but you're right. A lot of people will do this, and it'll end up just being this candle, and you get to decide whether you want to just hang out in the bodies or whether you want to take the up wick, not the down wick, but the up wick as part of the area. And if you did it this way, look at what we have. Trade down to 50% and then out. And on top of that, you had a fair value gap right at 50%. So that would have been the optimal one to jump into. And you would have most likely not even considered the one down here. It was only in consideration for me because originally I was looking at the entire breaker, the whole chain of three candles, which price didn't consider. So it's good observation. And thank you for that, Crypto Queen. The more we discuss these things, the more we further, I guess, stamp it into our memory and into our brain, and it just becomes second nature at some point. So generally what I require is I'm looking for a certain time period. So I've been looking at the charts long enough to know that a pivot point is going to happen 8:30, 9:30, or 10:30, or 1:30 or 2:30. I already know that those 5 time frames are prime and ripe for a pivot. So to see this at 130 gave me a little more confidence than just price action alone. Same with the fact that it was a breaker with a fair value gap inside. That gave me more confidence than just a breaker alone, or just a, like, this is essentially also a 2022 model, right? We have price breaking down. We have a sweep of a low. We have energy upwards, creating a gap. Another one creating a fair value gap. Another one creating a fair value gap, and price continuing. So we have quite a few things in this one area, and all of those combined is what give you the confidence to take a trade. And that's why this morning I was a little hesitant to take a trade. And I know that may not be ideal for some of you who are looking to me to give you a signal, or looking to me to tell you now is the time. But I'm also cognizant of that, and trying to not just jump in trades that look 60% of my A plus setup, or 70 or 80%. I'm looking for all the confluences to come together to give me that confidence, so I can then show you a winning trade, which then gives you more confidence that you can do it. Well, also confidence that I can do it as well. But I am aware that we have all different skill levels in our room. And because of that, I'm trying to show when are the good times to trade, when are the times you want to avoid it if you're not skilled enough. And I'm putting myself in that boat too, as someone who's maybe not skilled enough to just trade at any time of the day and every time I see a break of structure. Okay, the 2-minute fair value gap. All right. All right, so you jumped in and you had a target of right here. Sweet. There you go. You got in anywhere of the time that I got in, in about 10 minutes, you were done and out of your trade, and hopefully you made enough money to where you have the rest of your day to yourself. Or if you're so inclined, you can continue hanging out with us. We love to have more guests. So took that long to 56. All right, TJ, good job. $9.80 to 10. Okay. All right, Rainmaker, welcome back. Hello. Okay, William. Yep. Good. Yeah, we're on the same page there. Market structure, I would say, is the one skill I wish I had mastered earlier in my trading. Um, I thought I had a good grasp of it, and I thought it was so kind of basic that it wasn't really what you needed for trading. So after I, looked into it a little bit and thought I knew enough about it, I was moving on to something else because I was trying to get to the meat and potatoes of how to win trades. Um, and the one thing that plagued me the most was too often I was lost in price action because I wasn't really strong with market structure. Oh, wow. 268 with two micros. Wow. Okay. There you go, crypto. Yeah, follow your rules. Absolutely. Because the rules that you have are the rules that you form during back testing sessions. So those are the ones that you remember in your mind. Those are the ones that you remember price action working for you, right? And you have to follow those. If you want to change your rules, go back testing and prove that your new rules will also work, and then implement them into your trading. All right, Angel, welcome from Mexico. Good to have you in the room. All right. So from the entrance down here, if anyone took the entrance at the fair value gap that I took at 980, and you're still holding, and you held through this consolidation, you're now up 50 points per contract. Yes, I could consider making one crypto queen, no problem. At the current moment, though, I can recommend one for you. I've recommended it several times, but I'm not sure you were in the room at that time. Okay, so this is what I would recommend. I would recommend that you watch this market structure video by Stoic TA. He's on YouTube, and you may have heard Cami Capital talk about this as well. Because as a matter of fact, I think Cami was the one who recommended it to me. So check out this link here. It'll take you right to his page, and then you want to go and you want to look at. I think it's a market structure deep dive. He only has 3 videos, by the way, so you really could watch them all. It's trading strategy one that he has based on market structure as well. If I'm not mistaken, it seems like some of you this morning was using that type of strategy for when market structure breaks. You're fine getting out of longs and jumping right into a short and being flexible with the market like that. And I think that's what he does. But if you follow that video, it'll really give you a strong foundation on when the market structure shifts and which candles you should consider and which ones to just ignore. William, I am almost at 3 years. I'll be at 3 years in about a month. Yep. Yeah. Crypto Queen. That's the one. If you watch that video, it'll reconfirm some of those same foundational rules about market structure and when it breaks and all of that. Now, granted, market structure will break on different time frames. So just because it broke on the 1 minute doesn't mean that price has changed on the 5 minute. And that's when you want to be a little nimble with your trading. You want to take shorter victories, maybe go for 15, 20, 30 at the most type situation. until you see a break at a higher time frame, and you just continue to follow price that way. All right, everyone. So we are now into the 2 o'clock hour. I completely didn't announce that. I normally do. Oh yeah, you asked me to rename all of those times when I see price shift. It's usually on the half hour marks. So it's and sometimes it's the morning ones are usually either news or the opening bell. So it's 8:30, 9:30, and 10:30 in the morning. Those 3 times. And then in the PM, it's 1:30 and 2:30. And that's just from me looking at the market. This is not coming from any guru who says they've been in the market for 30 years and they know this to be a fact. It's none of that. This is just me looking at the market and saying, I've noticed that most of the time, if it's going to make a change, it happens here. Right. And that's just me doing that. So don't get into an argument with someone else about the time frames and prove it to be true, because it's just my observation. Yep. See, I wish I had discovered trading the day after I graduated college. Actually, I wish I had discovered the day after I graduated high school, but that was a long, long time ago. Um, but I'm glad I have it now. On and off for 7 years. Okay. Yep. Well, William, I will say for, I would say that most of this time period, so at least 2.5 out of the 3 years, I've been treating trading as my full-time job, even when I had a full-time job. So I would wake up in the morning and I would be in Arizona. The market's open when it's like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning for me. So I had a chance to do 2 or 3 hours before even having to go to work. And then in the evenings is when I would watch either tutorial videos or go and back test and review maybe some of the price action for the day. I would spend my lunch hour during work looking at it, and pretty much going to bed every night around 11 or midnight, getting back up at 5 in the morning and working around my day schedule to still put in 6 hours, 8 hours of trading in a day. So I spent a couple years doing that. And that's why when people are just getting into it, I try to set the expectations that, first of all, you need to make sure you're fully dedicated to this, because this will be extremely difficult for you. And secondly, just be realistic about how long it's going to take. A lot of people believe that they're going to be rich in 2 or 3 months. And while that may be the case for some, majority of everyone that I've seen who is successful has been at it for much longer than I have. In fact, many of them were trading 3, 4 years, break even, up, down, and then finally found profitability after some time. So I just wanted to set the expectation for most people, but it took quite some time, and I'm happy to be where I am now, but it was not easy. And I wasn't even at this level 3 months ago. So still a work in progress, and hopefully I can continue learning from you guys and get even better. All right. Now that entry is now at 70 points. Profitable for anyone who held. Yep. So the high at noon, that's all gone. All the lunchtime stuff. Oh, and I take that back. Oh, okay. Um, I do actually, but I'm interested in a retracement to this cluster. only because it was such a big cluster over here. I mean, we did get some movement here, and now that we've taken off past it, I'd love to see it do one of these numbers. But if that doesn't happen and it just continues pushing forward, I do see these lunchtime highs being taken. I like the equal highs we have here and the same here. So if I was still in the trade, I would have those marked as a TP levels for me, but I would still be monitoring price action as we move throughout these fair value gaps, especially on the 1 minute. If I wasn't looking for a retracement, then I don't want lows to be swept. You can see as we were moving up, right, all the lows are protected. We don't see any lows being swept. Right, so as you're protecting your position and price is increasing, you need to determine how many of these can be swept before you want to get out. And on any retracement, there will be some that are swept. Until they are swept, then we're not retracing. But once we do start a retracement, there will be a couple that will be taken. And so you got to decide where you want to place your stop loss and which one of those swing lows you think can protect you. But I do believe we will get back up to that level. Let me check a few more things and just confirm. The dollar really hasn't done much this hour, so it's good it is really out of the way. I mean, it is selling, but the range is really small. I showed earlier the hourly where we saw the dollar for ever since the 9 o'clock hour this morning, pretty much had one range, and every hour just really didn't move much. That is continuing all the way until this hour now. So we'll see how the dollar finishes for the day, whether it wants to do anything or it's just waiting for tomorrow. Okay, let me get some of this stuff out of your way. Okay, we're making a new high still, so that's good news. Gonna bounce back up to the 5 minute just so we have more of the chart on the screen. And if we get into another macro period or something like that, we can always break down and take a look at that time. Okay, so I completely forgot about the silver bullet. Let me get back down to the 1 minute. Sorry about that, guys. I know there are some silver bullet traders in the room and people are looking for that. And I completely goofed once right when we got around 2 o'clock because my trade was over. All right. So it looked like we had this consolidation period just before 2 o'clock. Now, let me just go back and mark up the macro period here. Right. So we didn't have a break of structure, which, and what I really mean there is a swing low being taken out during this macro period. So that didn't occur. So we didn't have to look for a short. But for the silver bullet would be, it can be, I know some people believe that it has to be formed inside of 2 o'clock. But I've seen the silver bullet work out quite often where it's not formed inside of 2 o'clock. So this would have been my entry on a silver bullet. Actually, nope, that didn't happen. Okay, so 2 o'clock would have to be this one, not this one. This was before 2. So your entry would have been, oops, it would have been on this one. Right, you had 3 candles to enter between, well, really 2 o'clock and 2:01 because this one is 1:59, so it was before time. But right at 2 o'clock, there was a second entry, and right at 2:01, there was a third entry, and those would have been the 2 to take. Since then, there have not been any other fair value gaps created until just now. So we're still in the 2 hours. So this could also play out. Let me go ahead and mark that up. All right, so this is a 9.5 point stop loss with a 19 point TP. Price looks like it's already going against this trade. It's already at the lower end of the fair value gap. So this actually may be a retracement coming up. Not sure. But it looks like the best entry was right at 2 o'clock on the dot. First candle, traded in and then traded out of. I want to see where this candle closes, whether it still closes inside of this fair value gap or it continues to push lower. All right, it closed below, so that fair value gap was then invalidated. Let's see if it can retake the level and get back above. Yep, Dr. JC, you're right. Getting more funded accounts will help out tremendously. Allows you to keep your risk low, allows you to keep your funding longer, and allows you to be take trades a little easier. Yep, right on, William. Yeah, if you're not going to get much out of this discipline unless you put everything you have into it. Tiny. I do still watch ICT content sometimes, but not nearly as often as I did before. I think right now I have a firm understanding of the different tools that I need to trade, the ones that speak to the models that I like to use. And so there's really not a huge need to continue to learn more because all it does is just prolongs my execution of those strategies. I'm then have to go back to back test and I have to gain my confidence in that strategy. I have to do that strategy enough to see when it doesn't work. And then I can trade it and feel confident. So I'm trying to move forward with my trading and not learn new concepts or not continue to be in the education phase. I think now I'm in a different phase in my trading, but I do occasionally watch ICT content. But I would say more so to get a refresher for some of the tools I am using currently as opposed to learning new ones. You're right. If I was still in with those two and had run it up 70 or 80 points, you're right. That would have taken a $1,000 trade up to like 3,000. Hmm. Just hit TP. Good job, Brad. 1 to 3.5. Look at that. All right, Cupertino. 600 for laughter. Good job. Yes. You saying like 350 to 410? Absolutely, Crypto Queen. That's the one that if you hang around with us, you'll see us taking 350 trades. At 350, sometimes it'll do something really nice for you. The Bomb Inc. Good afternoon. Welcome back. 5 minute break. This is in demo only. Okay. Measured move, 2 legs from 960. Sweet. Yep, the Anderson, absolutely. Preserve your mental capital as much as possible. This morning was very taxing. So anyone who traded this morning, you were probably in a trade longer than you wanted to be, and it most likely didn't produce what you wanted it. And those are very taxing moments to have. That'll either cloud what your focus for the rest of the day, or it'll have you revenge trading. No wick. Yep, you're right. No wick here. No wick here. Oh yeah, let me delete these. I just re-enter at 60. Well, Brad, I hope you did. Wow, you made 750 on 5 micros. See, not too bad, man. That was a good trade. And most people don't like micros because they feel like you can't be profitable. All right, everyone. So this was the second. I said if anyone wanted another silver bullet, this just might be it with this fair value gap. Anyone who took it and put their stop where I put mine, not only are you in profit, but if you did a 1 to 2, you're out with 19 points. So, $380 per contract, but you only had the risk less than $200 per contract. And if you wanted to hold to the next target, which was also the target before lunch, let's see. Was it? No, it wasn't the target before lunch. But either way, if you wanted to hold until the next swing point, which was at 93, remember your entrance would have been at 62-ish. Yep, right at 62. So you're talking about a 30-point swing here, which is larger than the trade that I took down here. Or I think actually maybe it's around the same. I think I got in at 980 right here. And I think I took it to, I don't know, or I was trying to take it. Remember, I closed early by accident. I was trying to take it to 010, I think, or 08, 09, somewhere in this range. So I was only looking for 30 points and I got in way down here. It still delivered 30 points to anyone who got in up here. All right, Fauci, you took it. Good job. Crypto Queen, you're right. You do not need a liquidity sweep. No, you don't. It's good if you get one, but a liquidity sweep, if you get a liquidity sweep, while it can be the silver bullet, that's also like the 2022 model. So that's really the difference between the two, is that you don't need the liquidity sweep on a silver bullet, whereas in the 2022 model, you first want liquidity swept, then you want the impulse with the fair value gap, and you want to retrace it back into that fair value gap. When you're just looking for the silver bullet, it's more of a continuation in current direction. So first you decide which direction you think price is moving in. Silver bullet is really based on time. So it has to be between 10 and 11, or it has to be between 2 and 3. There's a London one as well. I think it's between 3 and 4 a.m. for anyone who's up that early. But so it's very time dependent. It's very dependent on the right direction, but it's just a fair value gap entry. You're right. Runners for the win, man. Today, if you had runners, you had a really good day. Good job, Ray, man. I'm glad. It's really good to see people talk about how they're having their most profit they've ever had by being in the room and chatting with other traders and being able to feed off one another. That's exactly why this room was created. It's exactly why we're here every day. So it's really good, really rewarding and good to see. All right, equal highs are ripe for the taking. Okay, let me move this long tool. Let's get back up to the 5 minutes so we can see some of this earlier price action and know when we take those highs. We're above the weekly open now. Okay. Yes, we are. Awesome. 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 So we're pushing towards ultimately what we were looking for this week is to take out last week's high. We've done that. And up next would just be the week before that. So 17,152. Yep. So we have swept last Thursday, Friday's highs. So that's good. And like you mentioned, we're above the weekly highs. Weekly highs is obviously our weekly target. That's our goal. We want to take out last week's high. We have now done that. After that, I usually then start looking for more targets in the same direction. But I'm a little cautious that we run to those levels because again, the weekly goal and target has been met. After that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to make sure that everyone is prepared to take the trades that they want and are not over trading and not impulse trading. No problem, Elena. I want to just keep checking in and continue to show up every day. And one of these days, you're going to be the one talking about how great or how much profit you just pulled out of the market from a great trade you took. Yep, Brad, that's exactly where the learning comes from. That's exactly how it happens. When you see someone else's perspective and you're able to quantify whether that's a good supplement for or complement for your own strategy, or if it's something that you then need to look into so you can switch. DB, all righty, good job. All right, newcomers, everyone who's new to the stream, and it's your first day, first time hanging out with us, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'm gonna make an assumption you're having a good time. That's why you're still here. And you want to be a part of this going forward. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button and make sure you're getting all the invites for the live sessions that we take, and you get the reminders for when you forget. Okay, these two levels have now been taken. So 093 is done. 101 is done. All right, what else do we have? Right, let's get this one. And ooh, equals right here. That's the one. Okay, next three levels now been marked. Looks like 107 was already taken while I was doing that. So we're going to go ahead and it went exactly to 707. Oh, I'm sorry, 107.5 went exactly to the tick. So I'm going to leave it there until it trades through it. When it trades through it, then I'll take it off. Oh, relaxation. Sorry you missed that trade. We'll see if we can't catch another one. All right, CEO, appreciate you. Laugh that it always happens that way. You get out of a trade and then it goes the direction that you thought it would. Yes, Tiny. Once you pass evaluation, you can make as much money per day as you want. It's just during the evaluation. If your goal is 3,000 in total, you can't make more than 50% in one day. So in theory, the best you can do is to pass your evaluation in 2 days, split it in half and achieve 1,500 both days, and then you pass. But then once you're in, you can get 20,000 in one day if you want. William, 8% profit. Holy smokes. That's unbelievable. Good job, man. Yep. Fauci, let me just tell you a little bit about my trading. So, my journey has been once I felt like I knew what was happening, knew what was going on, as soon as I hit the market, all I was looking for was an entry. I couldn't wait to find an entry. And I just play around with all the time frames and draw a bunch of different things, just looking for an entry. And the one thing about trading, if you're looking for something, it'll present itself to you. So if you're looking for an entry, you'll find an entry. It might not be the right entry, but you'll find something. And that was one of the things that I needed to learn the most, was to let it come to me. And I was notorious for losing my first trade every day and then spending the rest of the day battling back to either break even or getting into profit. But it would be such a difficult experience because I would spend all day just trying to get into profit because I started out negative every single morning. Um, and I just couldn't understand why. And it was because I was impatient and I just couldn't wait to get that high from winning a trade. So I couldn't wait to get in a trade, but it would normally give me the opposite effect. And so that was when I knew I needed to slow down. I needed to back up, and I couldn't really do it. But then I started watching another trader, and he was very similar to me. And I noticed how calm he was and how he just waited for, like, he'll put in his limit order and then he didn't even sweat it if it didn't come back. And that was completely contrasting to my trading style. And so I knew I needed to adopt something different. And luckily, I was able to do that. And doing this channel actually helps reinforce that. All right, William. Take care. We'll catch you tomorrow morning. Hopefully tomorrow morning, if not tomorrow afternoon. But enjoy Disneyland. Oh, DB, today's your first day. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. You were trying to get into your account. Now you're in, and you already have a profit. Good job. Okay, you said 81 cracks. So this fair value gap. Okay. No, I've never seen or heard of the equity clock before. Man, we all need to attach our accounts to Ray. Ray apparently just tore the market up today. So it'd been good if we all could have had copy trades with him. Ray, are you good for the day or are you just good for now and you may jump back in next hour? Right, let's see where we are now. Yep, been a long ride. Yep, I thought this time last year I would have been where I am now, and I'm glad I didn't give up. But it just it just reminded me I needed to put in so much more work than I had already done. All right, everyone, we're a little bit past halfway into this session. We have about another hour and 20 minutes or so. Another hour and 20 minutes. So if anyone has any questions, go ahead and throw that in the chat. I know price is finally slowed down for us a bit so we can have a conversation for the last 10 minutes or so. But the 2 o'clock hour has been quite fruitful for many of us. And yeah, if you're in here for the first time, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, go ahead and subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on any live streams that are on the schedule. Also, hit the like button, and that helps YouTube out when they promote us to others. I'll point this out one more time. I just want to make sure everyone understands what I mean. So I've added the Nasdaq in here before. I only had three. Now I have the three indices plus the dollar over here in the corner on the left hand side. But when I keep harping on the fact that I want to see the three indices doing the same thing. If we look at just the last 2 hours on the three indices, we see them doing the same thing. But prior to that, we see them doing something different altogether. Like we saw the Dow putting a low at 9 o'clock. This is 9 o'clock right here on S&P. This is not a low. 9 o'clock on Nasdaq. Let's see, what did we get? They didn't put a low in either. The low was at 8 o'clock. Right, we saw a sweep of lows during the last hour here. We saw a sweep of lows in the last hour there. We did not see a sweep of lows in the last hour on the Dow. However, during 2 o'clock, when price was most favorable and was moving with low resistance, we saw a sweep of the high there. We saw a sweep of the high here. We saw a sweep of the high here. We saw them all going for the same targets, moving the same direction with the same level of intensity. And with that, you can generally reach your targets that you're looking for with your trades. So when you find those conditions, those are the trades you want to hold, and those are the ones you want to stay in. When you have one going up and then one coming down and you're in a trade and things look like it's stalling, you might want to protect yourself a little more in those situations. Right. We still have the dollar being lethargic over here, so I don't know what that's all about. Maybe it was because this morning the news was two of the items were favorable and one was unfavorable, so it's kind of indecisive today. I'm not really sure, but for whatever reason, we would have expected with this kind of bullish momentum here, we would have expected a breakdown in price on the dollar, going to sweep lows, but we didn't get that. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up one more time just to make sure that when I'm harping on the fact that I need these to move in sequence, I really do need them to move in sequence. And a lot of times this screen is on one of my others, and so you can't see it, but it's really important. Risk management. Okay. Hey, man, do you have any particular questions about it, or you have any particular pitfalls that you continue to run into that you maybe want some ideas on? Ooh, Brad, that's an awesome one. Take your first trade in your practice account. All right, CEO. Yeah, that was me too. Limit orders really became an every single day thing in the last 3 months. And I would say really the last 2 months since I've been live streaming. Yep. So cut losers and hold on to winners longer. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one, Brad. You'd be surprised how many people say, "Oh my God, my stop's getting ready to be taken," and then they increase it. Yep, that's a good idea, Brad. If you get 10 points, then you want to move your stop loss. Just be careful, especially on Nasdaq, because 10 points could be one candle. And so any type of retracement, that's how I get stopped out as well, because the 10 points shows that you're up 200, 250 $250, and that looks good, or that feels like something. And you say, okay, well, all right, it's already starting to mature. Let me move my stop. I do find that if you have a more systematic approach to where maybe it's when we take the next swing high, I'll move my stop. That kind of situation, I find that those last, those hold up longer, and you end up staying in the trade a little easier versus just having a certain point total, especially one that it can do in one candle. Um, those tend to be a little harder. Well, you can make profit as much I think you can withdraw as much as you're making. I know they only like you to do 50% at one time. But yeah, I don't know if there's really a limit on how often you can withdraw. Oh, Crypto Queen. I didn't even realize that was an option to take the buttons off. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't on the charts. I didn't realize you could take these buttons off. So then you're forced to go in with some level of limit order or something to get in. That's actually really smart. If you know you're an impulsive trader and you're trying to break that, then that's exactly what you want to do. All right, DB, good job. Good job. Good job. Break a structure right here. Now, what we want to make sure is that this is not just a liquidity grab and then we're going to run back up. So what you would hope to see is some level of fair value gap or something that's going to protect price. We do have this small one here, which it rejected 3 times. So that possibly could be the breakaway gap, but not really sure at the moment. But it is confirmed that we did get a break of structure there on this low time frame. Let's move up to the 3. Oh, sorry, 2 minute. Not yet. Nope. Actually, you know what? Wait a minute. Um, there. Okay. Sweet. You can see the candle body sat on it on its way down. And then on the retest, you got it stopped once, started here, and then broke down. Took 81 short for a 10-point scalp. Okay, so once it broke structure on the retest, you went short and took it down. Okay, awesome. All right, so this is exactly what I was looking out for earlier. Just want to make sure that it wasn't just a liquidity sweep and then it was going to run back up for higher prices. So basically just a retracement. Let's measure that up. Hey, we got a 78% retracement to the tick. And now we see prices pushing higher. We want to make sure it can get through this fair value gap that rejected these three. So we want to wait for a closure to see if it gets above and stays above. But on the way down, we did get a 78.6 to the tick. Let's go. Uh, Yami, what helped me stay in the trades longer? I think what helped me stay in the trades longer is just understanding through my back testing that I can get a 1 to 2 trade to deliver for me. I think that's it. And I had far too many trades where I either got out early or I moved my stop loss and got stopped out early, only to watch the trade go to the original take profit that I had set up. After that, it's happened, I don't know, 50, 100 times, whatever the number is. It's been a lot. Um, Eventually, you start to believe that what you're doing is right. You just need to have more discipline. And another thing, trading live in front of you guys. It's hard for me to take a trade. And then when I get a little scared, if I was sitting by myself previously, I would have probably jumped out and took 10 points, 15 points, whatever the profit was, and been happy with that. But now I'm trying to show you guys how to do it properly, which means I need to do it properly. 5 to 10 points. That was heavy. Oh, okay, Dr. JC, I see. Yep, you're right. So if you're taking those kind of entries, you probably also have a similar or much smaller stop loss there. So if you're targeting 5 points take profit, you probably have a stop loss of around 2 or 3. And then you can go in with 5 contracts or 8 contracts or whatever it is that you're going in with. Assalamu alaikum. All right. Welcome. Welcome to the live room, and welcome to the chat as well. All right, we are back in this time frame here. All right, guys, what we're looking for now is to see if we get a break through 17,107 in the next 10 minutes. Well, there we go. As I speak, there it is. So we broke through that level, whereas we just touched it before, right on it, and then rejected out. Now we've broken through it. I'm going to remove that. Can also remove these items. We don't need it any longer. We know we've now had a structure break in the middle of a macro period. Don't feel helpless. Don't feel helpless. Thing is, by watching it take out another high, you know that its price action is bullish still. You also know that you have a fair value gap that's now been delivered to you on a 1 minute time frame. You also know that fair value gap, as you look at the price leg we're currently in, is below 50%, so it's in discount. So you should feel hopeful, not helpless. And then you could have a target, or you can have an entry here at there. Boom. 1 to 2 gets you just before the next level that we have marked off at 130. Also, it's just below the half a standard deviation extension here. So it's just below both of those areas. Also on the previous leg, retracement down to 78%. Its half a deviation extension is also above the next target. I'm not saying you should absolutely take that trade, but don't feel hopeless because price is moving without you. It always comes back. Hey, let's see, where are we? All right, Brad, no problem. Okay, no problem, Crypto Queen. There you go, DB. That's exactly the right attitude. You see the market the way that matches your trading style, and you wait for it to happen. If it doesn't come back, then it wasn't for you, and you let it go and you wait for next time because it will come back. Power hour, absolutely, guys. We got about 30 seconds, and then we're in the final hour of today's live stream. But power hour is the right name for it. So we'll see exactly what happens in the next hour, but we're here and ready. In fact, I want to make sure I still have a voice to talk to you guys. Let me go and grab my water really quickly. I'll be right back. Give me like 30 seconds. Shouldn't take long. There we go. Told you I'd be quickly. I'll be back. Minutes here. 3 minute. So the 2 and the 3 minute have fair value gaps between 50 and 60%. Only the 1 minute digs down into the 70% area. Okay, nothing on 5 minute. Okay, and that's 4 minute gives you basically 38 to 61. Okay. Let's get back to regular trading hours. I just want to see if we covered that area. Yes. So Brad, what's commonly referred to as an optimal trade entry, especially in the ICT teachings, is, but it's more than ICT, just in general in trading, 62 to 70%. From here to 78 seems to be kind of that area where you want to trade at, as far as a retracement is concerned. And 71 is just the middle value, so that becomes what they call the optimal, or the sweet spot. But it's 62 to 78 is kind of the threshold in the zone that most people trade with. All right, let's see what this trade looks like. All right, it's going to be a large stop loss. It looks like almost 20 points. So that means a 1 to 2. We're looking at nearly 40. 39 and a half. Let's see if we can get there. And just so everyone knows, I'm not in this trade. I am not in this trade. All right, everyone should be up 12 points already. Oh, you were talking about price, not retracement levels. Oh, sorry. Okay, you said 62 is a good level. Ooh, 62. Oh, okay. So maybe you were talking about this fair value gap. Okay, Crypto Queen. Good job. Good job. You say you did it on a 3 minute. If I'm not mistaken, the 3 minute, I think the entry was a little higher. It wasn't as far down as this. Let's go. Yep. So you would have got in. Hopefully you waited at least to the 50% of the retracement. So you were at least looking at the Fibonacci and you waited to, even though I think the Fibonacci started here at 903, but you could have gotten in right at 50% at 901 and a half. But then again, it's only 2 points we're talking, so it's up to you. Okay, I see. The one we're looking at now, this actually is not really an ICT strategy. It's more, I think it's just the optimal trade entry of ICT strategy, which is just a Fibonacci retracement. But what I did was um, I entered based on a break of structure, right? As price was breaking down and we took out this low, we then was like, okay, now we're looking at bearish price action. Then it immediately turned around and it took out this high. And when it took out that high, now it's like, nope, now we're bullish. We're bullish again. And then as I look at this price leg from this low to this high, once we switch back bullish, I noticed a huge fair value gap created. So this bullish move, which then took over this high, left this as a nice little gift for everyone who wanted that trade. And that's why that entry was taken. So it's optimal trade entry. So I wanted to enter below 50%, which is in discount, but optimal trade entry is between 61 and 78. It also had a fair value gap. But I guess to further answer your question is this break of structure right here happened during the macro period, which is between 250 and 310, between those two time frames. And so this is a strategy I got from, I think it's from Hydra, but I could be mistaken. And if I'm mistaken, I think it is from Hydra. So there's a guy on YouTube named Hydra who talks about taking he talks about strategies taken during the macro period. And so just look up this name here. Actually, let me try to find his videos. I'll find one and put a link in there for you. Mm. Yeah, I'm reviewing now, and it looks like Hydra. He looks for a breaker block after the macro period, so it's not 100% the same. But I'll give you the link anyway. Oh, does he? Awesome. Okay. Well, here's the link to his channel, and you can find where he talks about macros, and that's what you really want to focus on. So it's about what happens during this 20-minute period. And if something happens that you want to happen during that moment, that's when you have confirmation of taking a trade. If the exact same thing happens outside of the period, then it means nothing. Right. And what I was looking for was a market structure shift. So before the macro period, right here, it shifted and said, okay, we're bearish. And it was at 242. 8 minutes later, the macro starts and we see a huge run up and it takes out the high. And now I'm like, okay, we're bullish, and it's during the macro period. So if we're bullish during the macro period, I'm looking for a long. So I want to go into discount. I want to measure this leg, and I want it to retrace more than 50% so I can enter down here. And that was essentially um, that entry there. Okay, so we have those highs swept now. Anyone in the trade are minimum up 25 points. So you get $500 per contract if you're on the minis. All right, here goes. Here goes the breaker that I didn't see. When price ran up and swept this high, it also created a breaker from these series of candles that it traded back down to. And look at where the bottom wick landed. Not only was it inside of the fair value gap that I had pointed out, it was the very low extreme of the breaker block. So they landed right together, and then we saw price build up out of there. Right, equal highs. We want to see price break above these. Up 78 ticks with 2 contracts. Oh man. Ah. Okay, let's see if this candle can run up past that level I have marked. All right, everyone, it's now 3:15. We have sort of that mid-hour macro period for um, during the power hour. So keep that in mind. P&L for the month. So I was break even until like late last week. I'm up 5 grand so far since then. And that's taken anywhere from um 700 to $1,000 per day. Not over trading, stepping aside, allowing the market to then be there for everyone else. But not necessarily me. I want to make sure that I'm being responsible with my account. I want to make sure that I'm successful with my account. But also I don't want to give anything back to the market. I'm just trying to be greedy. So unless I feel really, really strongly about something, I won't re-enter a second trade after the first win. Um, at least not during that session. So you may see me take a trade in the morning session, then take a trade in the afternoon. But at this moment, I'm not the type of person who will take a trade every hour. Yep. Yeah. So when you see a sweep of a low or high on the 1 minute, it's important to recognize that, to note it, but don't overreact. Give it a few more candles. Make sure that it is still continuing in that direction. Maybe wait for a 1 or 2 candle pullback and then see if it continues in that direction by making a further high or low, whichever direction you're going. Try to get some more confirmation. Um, and especially if you're at the end of an hour, or if you're at the midpoint of an hour. If you're at those 2 points, be careful when you see price moving like that, because they may try to fake you out. Yep, TJ, you're right about that, man. I've been on the other side too long to be impatient now. I'm not I don't mind sitting back and waiting for my trade to come to me. 150, Elena, 150. I wouldn't say you missed much, Vivian. Depends on how long you've been gone. I think some people are in this long here. They took the entry on this candle at 304. We're trying to see if it can deliver a 1 to 2. It's already delivered from 86 all the way up to 114. So some people took 25 to 28 point profit already, and others are holding for further target. We do have another pool of liquidity at 131, and we'll see if we can get there before the day closes. Yep, so far that new fair value gap that was created at 308 or so is holding, but everyone be careful. No, I'm actually not waiting for anything, Crypto Queen. I'm content with where I landed today, so I'm okay. Unless something major happens, I'm fine. I'm content. But I do have this set up for anyone who took the long down here. I know some people entered in this fair value gap, so I drew this fair value gap as something that should support price. I mean, we saw a consolidation, and now we see it retracing back down. So the question now is like, where is it going on the retracement? Um, but I'm drawing this up to support the other traders in the room right now. And also it's forward testing for me. So it's my strategy of and TP of a 1 to 2 trade. So continuing to see more examples of either 1 to 2 working or 1 to 2 not working. Right. And so we do want to be aware of the time. We know it's 3:20. We have 40 minutes left. We had a sweep of a high. that already occurred. We had 3 or 4 chances to continue pushing, and it didn't push. And so we just want to be aware of that as we look at the clock and know that we have 40 minutes left. I mean, 40 minutes, I've seen price run from here to the next pool of liquidity in 1 minute. So absolutely it can do it in 40 minutes. But if price wants to consolidate for 40 minutes, we're going to run out of time. So I just want everyone just to be aware. But we can see that even though price pushed lower, we still have closures inside. And if we can get a closure above, that's even better. All right, TJ, I appreciate you. Really do appreciate your attendance. Appreciate you in the chat, helping out with everyone. So yeah, if you know anyone else who may also enjoy our channel, go ahead and recommend that to them. But otherwise, I do appreciate your attendance and appreciate your support. All right, 100 people in the room again. So we had that this morning and this afternoon. I think that might be the first time we've done that in both sessions in a day. So again, thank you all for supporting me. Thank you for being here. I hope you're finding this room rewarding and your trading is improving. I know mine is. It's definitely helping me out quite a bit. Oh yeah, Brad, you did say you got in at 100. Yeah, these remind me of those moments when in the afternoon when you can kind of see where price is going. It likes to trip you up and do a deep retracement, get everyone out of the market, and then run to the final price. Um, thank you, Crypto Queen. No. Sometimes if it's like this kind of business here, if I'm ready to cut the cord and I enter down here, I'll just cut it now and just exit and say, you know what, it's not looking like it wants to do what I like, and I don't have any more mental capital to give to it, and so I'm just going to cut now and take the profits that I have. Um, but when you make that decision, be okay with it. So if you then, as soon as you get out and you see it run up here, don't jump back in. Just be okay with getting out, taking what you had, and set up for the next one. Yep. Oh, hello, Samuel. Welcome back. And TJ, yeah, you're spot on. It is absolutely a personal decision. It depends on how you're feeling at that moment, what price action is looking like for you. But don't be afraid to say, you know what, it wasn't doing what I liked, and so I'm willing to cut and start over at the next trade. Absolutely, can't go broke if you're taking profits. Crypto Queen, I'm notorious for, especially earlier on, I was notorious for holding losers all the way until the end, but then cutting a winner early. All right, we got sweep of some lows. We have 4 equal lows there. Let's look for that reaction now. It is just sweep liquidity, and now it's going to run up, or if it's a sign of more to come. How this candle closes will give you some indication. And then if you're still holding, you don't want to see the next couple candles playing around. You want to see it run up. You want that sweep of a low to have been the final move that it needed. So if it's not showing you that it's willing to do something big, then it's up to you to make a decision from there. Right, but if here was that sweep of the lows right there. Yep. But for anyone who's still in, you're almost at a 1-to-1 right now. So it's up to you how you manage the trade and if you're willing to wait to see if it will achieve the full objective of 2R. But remember, 2R is that's my trading style, my strategy. So yours doesn't have to be that. Okay, we had another test of this low. All right, Tommy, good to have you. We'll catch you tomorrow morning. Yep. All right, we continue to get closures inside of the fair value gap still. So we had another sweep of a low. So anyone who moved their stop to the last low had another sweep. And potentially now we're getting the push. All right, if you're still in from the beginning, you're up 25 points again, 22-ish. I just want to bring this back down so everyone can see this one more time. Group and get rid of this. All right, so we see the Dow and the S&P with a lot more energy than what we see over here at Nasdaq. Nasdaq barely is above the high of last hour, right at it, still trading there, and we see the other two out and running. So it'd be interesting if the Nasdaq can catch up in the next 20 minutes or so. Um, I'm not saying it can't. I'm not saying it can. But it'd be interesting if it can, because if it can, it gets to where we thought it was going to go. The trade that we have marked up now is to be reminiscent of these type setups. But so far, Nasdaq, which has been the bullish leader all day, is so far this hour moving much slower. So I just wanted to throw that out there for anyone who wasn't aware. Okay. Looking good so far. We're down to the last half hour, so we've crossed over 330 already. Okay, Vivian, you still found a way to get in. Good job. Oh, okay. Good job, Young. DJ, I'm almost at 3 years. Next month will be 3 years. It took me about 9 months or so. My first 9 months, I had not a clue really what was going on or what I wanted to do or how to do anything. So it took me a while to find the right group, the right set of instructions, the right tutorials, the right mentor to get me on track to where I am now. So that took some time. And now I've been on that track for, I'm just now right at 2 years for that. Let's see. All right. So this is our 50% mark on the TP right there. I'll get rid of these two lower marks. We don't need them any longer. All right. So that gives everyone kind of a midpoint mark. So you know exactly where the 1-to-1 is. So anyone who entered the trade at the very, very most conservative entrance, 105 is your 50% mark. That is your 1-to-1 trade, which is 20 points. So manage your trade as you see fit from there. But I just want to make sure everyone understands where those levels are as price is really consolidating for the last 25 minutes. Still another 25 minutes on this session. Okay, found another fair value gap that I had overlooked about 6 or 7 minutes ago. To learn, yeah, just about everything that I know, I got it from ICT, DB trades. I got it from ICT, almost everything. There are a few things I did learn from others, but many of those are also ICT students. So they just explained his concept in a slightly different way, which made it easier to absorb. But it was the same as ICT concepts. Okay, so for Nasdaq right now, we're at the weekly CIBI. So it's a weekly bearish fair value gap, and we're at the 50% mark, 17107.75. That he is, yeah, TJ. He definitely provided the best education, trading education that I've found on YouTube for free. So I wasn't part of his paid mentorship at all. I joined during the 2022 mentorship. So everything was free on YouTube, and I'm glad I found him because without it, I'm not sure I would be at the level of understanding I'm at now without paying a good amount of money to another mentor who could teach me the same. You're right, lots and lots of resistance. I want to know what this wick was all about. If that wick was just to get people with tight stop losses out of the way. Something tells me this is going to be that 345, 350, just boom up to that level. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just got the feeling that something's happening, something's brewing. Or it could be that to where it waits until the very end and it just slams down. Um, but I don't have any skin in the game, so it's not really for me to say. All right, Fauci, take care. I'll look at that. Back down to origin. Okay, you got 200. Great, Vivian. Awesome. drop these fair value gaps unless it becomes an inversion. Let's see if this one becomes a resistance for price, or if we can just break through it. Potentially that's a failure. Let's give it a couple more candles before we decide whether we believe it's a failure or not. We still have this swing low as our market structure shift, so it's not there yet. In fact, it came close, but then it started buying up again. So what we want to do is see if this fair value gap can be reclaimed and price can trade above it and close above it. All right, I like the trade above. Let's see if we can close. Still a long time. We got another 50 seconds or so, but we want to close above this level. If we can close above this level, then we're going to still try to run the target here. All right, another 10 seconds. Let's see if we can't get that closure we're looking for. All right, so we have a reclaimed order, or not a reclaimed order block, but a reclaimed fair value gap now. Go ahead and mark out those relative equal highs we want to see price rip through. Anyone freshly in a new trade or still in the original trade, make sure you're protecting yourself. It's 15 minutes before the hour. Oh, I was wondering what happened. I was like, where's my fair value gap? Somehow I think it may have gotten deleted. Rid of the original one because we do have two replacements here. See if we can't get up to 115. Reclaim. Reclaim order block is just essentially when you lose a level. But then you see it's essentially just a liquidity run and it quickly comes back to reclaim it. The same as the fair value gap that I just removed off the screen. So we had this one, right? It broke down and closed below, so that invalidated this fair value gap. It could have been an inverted one when it traded back up if we got a rejection from this level back down, but we didn't. It traded back through it, traded back down, used it as its original form, and then started trading out of it. So it's essentially reclaimed as it was originally here. It's similar to an order, same with the order block. If you trade through an order block and you're like, okay, it's invalidated, but then it trades right back above it, trades down, retest, and uses it to spring off, then it's reclaimed at that time. Okay. And I thought we could delete this because we had replacement fair value gaps in the exact same space. Right. Hopefully this has been rewarding for those who stuck around all the way until the end. We're still waiting to see if we can get that push up to 125, but so far we've not been able to get there. We're about 13 points shy. Well, about 10 points shy 40 minutes ago, but just recently we're about 12 to 13 points shy of reaching the full 1 to 2 target of 17,125 and a half. All right, Brad's back in. All right, in another minute, it'll be 350. The market does go crazy this time, so 350 algo. Yep. All right, CEO, take care. We'll catch you tomorrow morning at 9:15. Otherwise, tomorrow afternoon at 1300. We'll see you. All right, Elena, take care. We're back at it tomorrow. That was an interesting candle. Let's see what happens. All right, that opened up 350. Holy cow. It just sprinted down and then bought back up. Okay, 115 is the first level that we need to take out on our journey up to 125. Remember, the 105 level is the one-to-one trade, so that's about half of the take profit. Oh, nice candle. All right, so highest value we've seen in quite some time. Is 115 going to fall next? And it did. 115 was next. All right. Remember, protect yourself. We're at the end of the day. We got 8.5 minutes remaining. Anyone trading with prop firms, you have an extra 10 minutes after that. So you have about 18 minutes remaining. Yeah, Zach. Yeah, you missed all the craziness from earlier this morning. Well, it was okay. The morning session was okay. It was just okay. But this afternoon has been good so far. 1 o'clock wasn't as great. 2 o'clock was a really good time for us. We struggled early in this hour with patience, just sitting on the sideline and waiting for the right opportunity. But it did present itself, and I pointed it out. And everyone, there's the 1 to 2. I know it was painful, and I know you had to have diamond hands in here, but it never. Whoops. Once your entrance was taken down at 0.86, there was never any drawdown, never any heat on this trade. The only heat you would have taken was on your entrance over here. At 17.086, you would have got in right at the fair value gap. And it got as low as 17.084 and a quarter. So you took less than 2 points of drawdown on this trade per contract. So you're talking less than $40. And everything else you should have been positive. Here, when we saw it come back down, it brought everyone back to break even. If your stop loss was where it originally was, you were good to go. If you had moved your stop loss, you got stopped out with whatever profit you had. But like I said, the reason why I like 1 to 2 is because I've just seen it work so many times. And that's done during back testing. So everyone, when you do have time, make sure you're back testing. I can't tell you how much that helps out with your confidence in trading. To know that you've seen it with your eyes, not your mentor or your friend or someone else that you believe in. I mean, that's great too. But to really hold a trade is you have to be confident in your own ability to do this. So congratulations to anyone who held that trade. It got you a tick above and just a tick above. I mean, it may do something else in the next couple minutes, but yeah, it went up to, what's this high? Look at this high right here when I put it over that candle. 125.75, and over here in the corner is 125.5. So it gave you one tick above, tapped everyone out. Even if you had multiple contracts, you still were able to exit with your full profit. And now it's doing whatever it's going to do to close out the day. Okay, Brad. All right. Oh, Bob, that means you need to keep checking in then. So I know I can see you here every day. All right, Yami, thank you for joining. Thank you for subscribing. Look forward to seeing you in the chat and in the live stream in the future days. Yes, Zach, I backtest in TradingView. I don't have one of those fancy backtesters where it gives you like real price action. I don't have that. So all I can do is I can either make the candles disappear and then start moving forward. But you can't get precise entries. So you just have to look at price action, set up your long tool, have it where you think you would enter a trade, and then let the candles start to print. $125.75. Okay. Yep. 125.75, and we had a target of 125.5. All right. 5 minutes left. Any further questions, anyone? Or comments? We'll take comments too. Don't forget, as you're exiting the live stream and you're getting ready to move on with the rest of your day, think about who else you might want to invite to the stream so we can, so we can continue to grow. Who else you think would find value in what we're doing? Oh, I see. Okay. So Zach, are you back testing on the quarterly contract? Because sometimes that might be where the issues are. So let me go ahead and change that up for you for a second. I have 4 monitors. I have the one that you guys are looking at. and I have another one that has the streaming software. And then I have two additional ones that I'm looking at different. I have one that's also has three different screens like this one, where I'm looking at the daily, the weekly, and the 4 hour. And then I have the one that I sometimes pull into frame, where I'm looking at the dollar compared to the three indices on the 1 hour. Okay, yep, Zach, if you're on a continuous contract, you should be able to see a lot of data. The only thing is, if you're on the lower time, so if you want to back test on, like, let's say the 5 minute or the 1 minute, you're going to be limited to about 2 to 3 months of data. So if you want to back test further than that, you're going to have to go higher than the 1 minute. Bob, you almost passed in 2 days. Wow, man, that's amazing. Well, as much as I would like to say I've helped you with that, man, that's all you. And congratulations on your success. I'm glad to have been in this room with you, but you have to be the one doing the analysis. You have to be the one to hit the button. You have to be the one to sit through drawdown. You have to be the one to do all those things. So congratulations. Yep. Yeah, Zach. If you wanna do a lot of back testing in lower time frames, yeah, you're gonna be limited to just a couple months. So what I would suggest, since most markets are exactly the same, similar type of algorithm, is choose a pair, or like a currency pair, or another market that you don't normally trade, because then you'll open up a chart that doesn't have any markings on it. Because that's one of the bad things about back testing, is you go back 2 months and then you still have your Fibonacci's from 2 months ago and everything else that kind of give you an indication of what's happening in price action. So go ahead and back test on something you don't normally trade, so you make sure you have clean charts. Relaxation, yes, I am. All right, Bob. Well, I hope you continue to check in on us and continue to be in the live stream every day. We're having a good time doing it. Like I said, I'm still learning. So there's still things I'm picking up from all of you on the things you see on a daily basis, and you guys are learning from me. And so together, we're all going to be not only funded traders, but profitable traders, and hopefully full-time traders by the end. Oh, I have four 27-inch monitors, four 27s. TJ, the reason why that works is because the way I always tell you, that I need the three indices to move together. So if you're looking at ES and you see a level where it should bounce from, you like, okay, it just hit a key level, I'm expecting price to now turn around, or it just hit a fair value gap and I'm expecting a reaction. Well, I'm expecting a reaction from all indices at that time. And so it works for that reason. Gotta run. All right, Bob. Take care. Don't spend all those profits at one place. Oh, okay. All right. Got it. You have your setup on Discord. All right, caveman. I'll check that out. All right, everyone. We're now at 4 o'clock. So I will continue to entertain questions as long as they're coming. Once the questions stop, I'll end the session. Before I check to see if there are any more questions, I do want to send another thank you. I mean, I really honestly can't thank you guys enough for the support you've given me. It's been tremendous, and my trading is reflecting that. I'm much more calm than I was before. I'm having, it's a lot easier for me to follow my strategy than it was before. Stay disciplined, to feel confident in my trades, to hold trades. Like, there's so many benefits to what we're doing right here. And I say we because we're all doing it. I really can't thank you guys enough. All right, IMAX. Talk to you later. Yeah, TJ, it's not that I hate ES. I don't like it that it's moving a little slower, and right, a 5 point trade can take quite some time to execute. So I don't prefer it for that reason. HDS, I do. Check the description for this video. Go into the description. You'll see a link to the Discord. All right, relaxation. Yeah, come along for the ride, man. Let's do this together. Right, HDS. Yep, man. It's good to be here. Good to be a part of the journey for you, and good to have you guys as part of my journey. All right. Remove this 1-to-1. No one cares about that any longer. This was just taking out this high and was enough confirmation that we were actually going to do something big here. See, right after that happened, it only took one more candle to reach target. Right, I think I have answered all the questions. I don't see any more. So with that, we're gonna close off another good session this afternoon, another good session for the day. And I'll say until then, happy trading, everyone. Cheers. Thank you very much.